as I just mentioned, very keen to get into the whole conversation around innovation and what it means for pharma, and actually importantly to think about lessons for not just how our own companies could do this better, but how the industry as a whole could embrace the innovation that everyone's talking about. So we've got a few starter questions. The first one of which is how do you define innovation, either within your organization or how do you personally define innovation? So maybe for the only time tonight, we'll go around the table and hear everyone's thoughts on the subject. So Linda, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, and it was great to get this in advance to kind of know, the topic and what we're discussing, because it is so critical to where we're headed, I think, in healthcare. And for us as an organization, I think innovation is really defined around design. Mm-hmm. There's huge opportunity, but to have really big impact, I believe we're going to have incredible design. And we've seen this with the tech world, where we look at Apple and what they've developed. There were always the Walkman, and there were things around, but because of design, it just changed the world. And world-changing ideas are great, but if you don't have good design around that, I think you're going to fail, or it's just not going to have the same impact. So having huge impact with something that has great utility with design, that combination is really how we define innovation and how we can engage patients. One of the things that is our mantra is that we don't have a Facebook in health yet. And why is that? And we think that it's because we have not really innovated to a point that the design has come in and given patients and people this opportunity to talk about their health in a way that goes so viral. So we see that opportunity to design that space where people can come together and have it be very data-driven, not just conversation, but put data at the center of the conversation. But it's got to be about design, because if people can't figure out how to use it, if they can't figure out how to engage with it, it's just not going to work. Mm-hmm. And it has to work in order for us to really have that huge impact.
It's interesting to think about, and I guess we define it in two different ways. To us, innovation is not just coming up with very, very creative ideas for how you solve problems, but the actual act of working through executing them, right? Whether they fail or succeed, it's putting the effort and time in to go forward and try the ideas out and be able to do it in a efficient manner that we define as innovation in our programs. It's also, I think, building something better tomorrow than what you do today. It's iterative change. People don't, I think, talk enough about making small, sustained changes continually, not just being happy with where you are today, but saying, how do I do this part of our program better? Is there a better way of doing this? Mm-hmm. That's apart from how we do it today. I think between those two things is how our organization looks to change and model our internal innovation.
So I think of innovation as the output of acts of human creativity whose implementation better enables us to achieve our mission and thereby realize our vision. So therefore it is something which is available to someone working in accounting as much as it is to the scientist at the bench.
Okay, cool.
I think in the interest of metaphorical consistency, it shouldn't be a vision, it should be a calling. So when I work with executive ed classes or organizations, I have a simple operational definition of innovation. Innovation is the conversion of novelty into value. And so when anybody discusses in an organization is something innovative or not, you break it down into, okay, what's the novelty? To whom is it novel? Where's the value? Who gets the value? And what's the conversion process there? And design, digitalization, industrial design, manufacturing, that's all a part of the quote-unquote conversion process on this. So I think that's the real kind of issue. For me, innovation is a medium, it's a means to an end, it's a way of getting to the fundamentals of what does value creation mean to the enterprise, how diverse or how specialized is the organization, so that some things that may be novel to the organization or old hat to some of their customers. And conversion is a very interesting issue as well, because it deals with the processes of if we have data sets, if we have diverse materials and resources, Does that make our conversion processes easier or more difficult? Do we have to diversify the portfolio of conversion processes? So again, it's a way of, innovation is a way of addressing new value creation in the enterprise, be it for one's channels, be it for one's customers, be it for one's users, or be it for one's employees.
Cool. It's fun that we start this way, thinking about what is innovation and what does it mean to us, maybe what does it mean to our organizations. I would like to include what will it mean to society, the key stakeholders for which we do all these things. And it means I've tried to understand, by studying this a little bit, how diverse opinion, do individuals have in this context. And I find it to be extraordinarily, I think, misunderstood, or in many ways a difficult to act upon framework for most people. Right? So new and useful. Another way of saying what you've just said is, I would say, a very practical way to try to put things in a box that people will all agree. Yeah, in fact, after having thought about that, that is innovative in its way. I think if you think about the ways in which individuals can seek to get closer to that, often striving towards simplicity, which often is embodied in the aspects of design as a path towards what will lead to a better way in which the people in accounting or people in manufacturing, as well as someone on the front lines of the biology or other ways in which we think about it, can all be rallied around how they too can get involved. I think underappreciated often in our industry is how critical business model innovation will turn out to be in making it actually as valuable and as useful and as convertible as it is going to have to be. So there's a bunch of pieces in that. For a company like Johnson & Johnson, it steps back, and I suspect we'll get into these more quantitative things, at the level of delivery of care. So, if you think about what does it really mean, it's how many days of life that are wonderful do we get to have, right? And how can one, deliver that in ways that are truly quantifiable and sort of validated to be associated with a particular type of intervention. And so I look forward to flowing through these as we get into the individual pieces, but for me, it tends to come down to how do you act upon it, how do you find ways to, in most cases, think about taking complexity out of the system so that you can do it faster, more affordably, and more impactful.
Interesting, okay. And before we get on to throwing the questions back around, Raj?
It's a tough spot to be in
after all of that.
All of the definitions that have been given out. And I think there's aspects of many of those in the organization that I work in. For us, I think fundamentally it comes down to two words. One is curiosity. I think the ability to get our employees or in any team to be fundamentally more curious is the key for innovations. And I think the ability for an organization to allow that curiosity to grow, which means to give them the time and the resources, is the fundamental thing that really makes one organization different than the other. I think for all the things that were mentioned, value creation, design, having to do something better, faster, or more efficiently, I think we all do that from R&D's places in terms of radical innovation, to process changes, to business model transformations and how we go to market and engage with our customers. So we have many innovations that go on, but the fundamental thread in our organization is defined by curiosity.